friend of mine rang me the other day and said, Justin, your marketing company is absolutely amazing. And I paused for a second and said, I don't have a marketing company. It's just me. What he was really asking was, how on earth do I do it? How do I produce so much? After all, I've got a day job doing advisory and tax returns for clients. Plus, I've got to run the actual businesses themselves and I've got a team of people. So in this episode, I'm going to show you exactly how. I'll take you behind the scenes of how I use AI and automation to turn one idea into a YouTube video, a podcast, and a blog. I'm going to show you how I write scripts faster. I'm going to show you how I design better PDFs and how I post to LinkedIn on autopilot. By the end of this video, you'll see how a small business owner with no marketing team can look like they've got one. The lesson isn't about you doing what I'm doing and producing content. It's about opening your eyes to what's possible with tech. The core idea is that I normally have one message, but I've got lots of different formats. Each week, I only create one main piece of content. And from that one piece of content, I end up with a YouTube video, podcast episode, and a blog post. I convert that piece of content into several short videos, which are posted into YouTube and LinkedIn. And I've obviously got a marketing function going on as well, where I need to post onto social networks. And LinkedIn posts, I've got those going out automatically. And here's the trick, is most people never notice it's the same message in different formats because I don't publish it all at the same time. It's on a different release timetable. And people, believe it or not, are picky about how they consume. Some people, they live on YouTube. Some people only ever listen to podcasts in the car. Some people like to read a blog in the evening. So instead of trying to write 3 different things, I create one good idea and let tech help me repurpose it. I'm not cheating. I'm still adding value, but it's just in different channels. And it's amazing. Hardly anybody realizes. So where does it all start? Well, it starts with recording day. And I use a product called Riverside FM to record everything. And I sit down once a week, like I am now. I open up Riverside on my phone and I record the main video. Riverside does a lot of the heavy lifting for me. It records high quality video and audio. It gives me a transcript using AI. It lets me enhance the audio. It even edits it for me using an AI tool and can create auto shorts. So based on what I've said, it'll create some highlights of those moments where it thinks the hooks are and all of that great stuff. And it'll even create a rough blog post. So that one recording is the source for almost everything else. But the real trick is what happens before that polished recording actually goes out. There was a point where script writing became my bottleneck. I was trying to write perfect hooks, tight intros and clear sections, and it would take me hours to perfect a script for a piece of content. So I changed the process and I kind of flipped it on its head. And instead of sitting at a blank screen now with thinking, what am I going to write here? I basically grab an A4 sheet of paper and scribble down a few bullet point ideas. I write down what the hook might be, what kind of the main themes and stories that I'm talking about, what key points I don't want to forget. I then open Riverside and record a rough audio ramble. So there's no video at this stage. I'm just talking on my phone. So because there's no video, there's no pressure, is there? And I just talk through it as if I'm explaining it to a client or a student. I do lots of lecturing, so I'm quite practiced at producing ideas off the cuff. I then let Riverside transcribe that rough audio. And now I've got a raw text script. The key thing there is that there is no typing involved. Obviously, typing takes a lot of time, whereas if I'm almost dictating it and practicing it, I'm killing a couple of birds with one stone, so to speak. I then paste that transcript into my custom GPT model, and I've trained that GPT model to do one job, to turn my waffle into a structured script in the way I would normally speak. I sort of say to that GPT, here's my rough draft, shape this into a really good quality YouTube script. I want you to write a strong hook. I want to introduce my authority without being cheesy. I want you to keep it simple and clear for small business owners. That GPT then gives me a clean script. I tweak the ending of my script usually to add in any specific calls to action or highlight any videos that I think are particularly relevant. And then I drop that script back into Riverside's teleprompter, which is like built into the app. And then it's time for the final recording. So now a 15-minute video might need about 15 minutes of me rambling with some audio. And then I might need another maybe 20 minutes just to tidy up that text into what I want. Obviously, AI's helped me at that stage just to get it looking good and looking tidy, ready to record. And then I can often go from an idea to a finished script in less than an hour. Whereas, believe it or not, good script writing can take several hours. So it's a huge saving. And that's technology really helping me do that. My next challenge is titles, descriptions, and the nightmare that is thumbnails. Once a video is recorded and edited, I export it and upload it to YouTube. I then go back to ChatGPT with the final transcripts because obviously Riverside's created the transcript for me. And I ask it for some help creating an SEO-friendly title. I want a clear benefit-led description. I want a list of tags. I tweak what it gives me so it still sounds like me, but it gets me 80% of the way there. Then there's the thumbnails. I'm not a designer and I'm staring at a blank canvas. So I asked ChatGPT for something like, give me a thumbnail idea for this video. Make them bold and simple, no more than 3 or 4 words on screen. And most of the ideas it comes back with are absolutely rubbish. But the idea gets me moving. I then can have a look and see what other creators are doing in my niche, decide what I'm going to do. So I've got ideas now. I've got other creators. I've got what the GPT gave me. And then I go into Canva and I start designing. So once I've got a draft in Canva of what I think my thumbnail's going to look like, I then, believe it or not, I go back to ChatGPT and I drop that image back into ChatGPT and I ask questions. How can I make this pop more? What should I emphasize? And it'll say things like, oh, add a drop shadow to lift the main image. Or it might suggest highlighting a particular word in a different color or reducing the text size because it's too busy. And it's like having a bit of a junior designer there who's really honest with I don't like this. And you don't often get that honesty. And I often talk about the 3 Fs, the friends, family, and fools who'll never give you an honest opinion about anything because they don't want to hurt you. Whereas actually ChatGPT is absolutely great at that. And it says, actually, I think you could do better and you could do the following things to make this even more amazing. So once I've got that bit done, we're kind of nearly there, aren't we? It's about automating the boring bits. And I used Zapier for that, which is a fantastic tool. Here's where it gets fun. Fun for me anyway, is I love publishing. I love recording a video. I actually enjoy writing the scripts and things like that. What I don't enjoy is writing social media posts about it every single time. It's not for me. I find it really, really boring. So I built a system in Zapier to take care of most of this bit I don't actually enjoy. Zapier is automation software. And for the podcast, I publish my podcast at 5 a.m. So the episode's got time to hit Apple, Spotify, etc. before people actually start their commute. That's not often the best time to be making a social media post at 5 o'clock in the morning, but Zapier is watching for the podcast appearing in the RSS feed. And when a new episode appears, Zapier waits a couple of hours because it wants to publish it at the right time. Then it sends the title and show notes into Zapier's built-in AI, which is basically a flavor of ChatGPT. And I've given it a prompt within there, and it says something like this. It says, "You are Justin Turner, aka JT. You are a systems accountant and tech-savvy accountant. Write a LinkedIn post to promote this podcast episode based on the title, and here is the description for the video." And Zapier then writes the post for me. It sends it straight into LinkedIn. I tested this really thoroughly at the start, and now I just let it run. I still glance at my LinkedIn feed every day when it's publishing something, but I'm not sat there trying to write fresh posts for every single episode. It also means I can have a holiday. I can build content in batches, which is kind of scheduled in advance. So if I'm away on holiday, it just appears as if I've never left the office. For YouTube, I do something similar. Zapier listens for a new video on my channel. These things are called triggers in Zapier, by the way. but I filter out anything that's a podcast also uploaded to YouTube Music because it actually appears in my video feed. It's a bit of a quirk of YouTube. Any shorts that are under 90 seconds get filtered out automatically. In order to filter out the shorts that I didn't want, I needed to actually write some JavaScript, but I don't know how to actually write JavaScript. But ChatGPT is really good at writing things like that in JavaScript. So what I did within my Zap, I put a step, which is basically I want you to run a piece of JavaScript. And I said to ChatGPT, look, here's some messy duration data from YouTube. I want you to write me a small function that's going to clean that duration data up into a format where it is identified if it's under 90 seconds. And it wrote the script for me. I pasted it into that stage, and that was it. Job done. So now Zapier only reacts to my long form video content. It feeds in the title and description into AI. It creates that LinkedIn post and it publishes it automatically. And all the while I'm off doing client work as well. So I want to just tell you about some extra things that I tend to do as well is about creating PDFs. And you might have seen that I created a budget guide PDF, or you might have seen my Zapier onboarding PDF workflow. People often ask me, how on earth did I put together it so fast and they're so well designed? And here's the simple version is, step one is I get the content right. For the budget guide, I read all the news coverage. I skim over the government documents. I look at our professional tax library, and I pay for that through my accountancy firm. So I've got good base information. Then I wrote and recorded the budget video myself very, very carefully. There is no room for error with tax. And once the video was final and transcribed, then I'll take my transcript plus some extra technical details from the professional bodies. And then I said to ChatGPT, turn this script that I've recorded into a 20-page PDF for small business owners. Make it easy to understand, explain what's changed, and give clear actions that they can take. Of course, all of that information was contained in the video I'd recorded. It produced a very, very solid draft, and I edited it for accuracy and tone. For the Zapier onboarding PDF, it was even simpler. I took screenshots of my Zap, fed them into ChatGPT and said, write a guide that explains each step in simple terms for a non-technical business owner. I wrote the whole document. That's not to say I haven't edited these documents and some time is required. But here's the thing, is that ChatGPT can't produce something that looks worth downloading. It looks a bit rubbish because it's just a block of text. It's not great at design. So I used a tool called Gamma. I exported my text from a Google document where I pasted it in from ChatGPT, downloaded it as a Word document, and I uploaded it into Gamma. And what I said to Gamma is basically, I want you to keep this content exactly the same. I want you to turn it into a clean, modern PDF suitable for small business owners. And Gamma lays it out. It looks good, but not great. So what I then did is I downloaded the PDF, put it back into ChatGPT, and I said, could you write me a prompt for Gamma's AI to improve the design of this document? Keep it on brand. I want improved spacing, headings, icons, imagery, and general readability. Don't change the wording because this is tax content. ChatGPT writes the prompt. I paste it into Gamma. A few small edits later, I've got a guide that is better than most generic budget PDFs in the marketplace. And it feels like me. It's not just a template from some sort of tax organization that's written for accountants and not small business owners. From there, I add it as a download onto my website and I hook it into my email system. So if someone downloads it, then they'll get a few emails. And once more, there's automation running there as well. I write emails once and they get sent out hundreds of times. During that sort of journey of emails, I point out where someone might be able to get my Zap PDF. So if they've gone to find my budget PDF, they can be directed into even more valuable content. And the ideas are to help people grow their business. People call these documents lead magnets. I'm generally humbled that someone has trusted me enough to enter their name and email address. That what I want to do next is I want to give them even more valuable information. I need to actually prove that that trust was worthwhile and given rightly. And that's hard in a digital space. But email automations and great looking documents built in Gamma do just that. So, what's the payoff for doing all of this? Well, 6 months ago, I remember telling a marketing guy that I was getting about 30 hours of watch time in a month on YouTube, and I felt a bit embarrassed about it. He said, Justin, that's amazing. People are watching you for 30 hours per month. Interesting, that changed my entire outlook. Fast forward to now, and YouTube alone is in the hundreds of hours watched every 28 days. Then I've got podcasts, I've got a blog, I've got TikTok. So somewhere around 500 hours of AskJT content is consumed each month. And that is absolutely amazing. And I'm not saying that to brag. I say it because it shows what becomes possible when you use AI well. You design a simple system and you stick to one piece of core content each week. Most small firms could do things like this. They can apply the tools in different ways. I'm just showing one example today, but they don't know where to start, or they don't know which bits to automate. And here's the honest bit. This stuff is hard. It takes time to learn tools like Gamma, Zapier, and the rest of the things I've talked about. And most people will never sit down and do that work. But if you're willing to push through that learning curve, you can build a system that quietly runs in the background, and it can make your business look like it has a full marketing team, even when it's just you. I don't think many content creators would be this open and honest about how they go about doing it, but I wanted to lay it all bare because I think there are loads of small business owners out there looking at my stuff and they're thinking, how is he doing that? So what I've been trying to do is wrap all of my knowledge into a simple model, and I'm calling this a modernization diagnostic. And it's a structured way to look at your systems, your marketing, your onboarding, and your tech to find kind of quick wins and also sometimes some big gaps. Then I kind of use this process to show people how they can apply these sorts of tools, and a bit like what I'm talking about here, but more customized to your business. So if you're interested in modernizing your business, or some of the things that I'm talking about, is think about coming and working with me and have a look at my website, which is askjt.co.uk. If you want to learn a bit more about this, you might want to have a look at my next video, which is coming up on screen in a few moments. And that's about how I automated over 400 tasks in a single week using a client onboarding Zapier system. In that video, I walk through the exact automation map, and you can also grab the PDF download, which I've already mentioned, that explains absolutely every step so that you can adapt it for your own onboarding processes. Might even just give you a few ideas as well. And if you're ready to find out how to modernize your business, have a think about applying for a modernization diagnostic and working with me. And you can do that at askjt.co.uk. I'll also put a link in the description. So I think from here, watch the automation video next, grab the onboarding PDF, think about applying for a diagnostic, and start building that business system that's going to really work for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.